What's good, my huggers and kissers? So today I'm about to just yap about video games, okay? So I just played a Marvel Rivals match. I just got out of the game, okay? I was just playing with a friend, and I kind of just want to talk about, like, video games, right? So I injured my wrist because there's just too much ice on my wrist, and I injured it just laying on it wrong. So I was playing the other day, or like last video, you saw my arm. So I was just playing and I realized like video games were so like, okay, so my whole like at least like introduction to video games was my very first gaming experience was on the Blueberry. Yes, there was this Holt game on the Blueberry. There's like these Holt games that my mom had on her like Blueberry phone, and there was this there was a Holt game, there was like a brick game, there was like Tetris, and like that was my first introduction to like gaming, right? Elite gaming. The whole game was actually pretty fun. I don't know if I could ever like find footage of like what game it was, but it was basically like a Holt game, like Incredible Hulk, but on the phone. And my most earliest introduction is me seeing, because when I stayed with my dad, he had a friend who played games, and he had like a PC, and he used to play WoW on the PC, and like that was like my first ever like seeing games, and like, oh, like you can like use PCs and stuff, right? And then like my first gaming experience was that. And then like as I got older, right, I kind of started to like develop and stuff, and like my interest started to change, because before I was really just into like cartoons, going outside and like playing, right? And then as I got older, I started playing, like I got an X, or no, what we got was a Nintendo, okay? Oh, no. What we got was a DS. We got a DS first. We got the DS. That was my first like gaming experience, right? So I used to play like Picto, Sketch, Mario, Sonic, like basic DS games, right? And that was like really good gaming. There's like a form of nostalgia there, you know, everlasting, especially Mario Kart. It was like one of the newer Mario Karts, etc. And then that's when we got a Wii. When I got a Wii, that was when like I started like really getting into it. There was like the Super Mario game. I don't know which one it was. It was one of like the newer ones, and that one was like the most supreme ones. It was the one where like there's like this suit where he can turn into a penguin. Whichever one that one is, that's the one we played in terms of my family. And so like that was like my first like experience of like, dude, I actually enjoy games a lot. Like games are just, they're fun. And so like that was still like, you can say that's peak gaming, but that's like decent gaming, right? Then as time went on, I started to, you know, develop and oh wait, no. Another game that I played on the Wii, or like a few games that I played on the Wii, was like Raven Rabbits, Wii Sports Resorts, Wii Sports, like the regular one. Just all those games, right? Super Monkey Ball. There was like this one game, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a dancing singing game where it's like, I know there's a song on there. It was like a super jam type of like game where it's like, go to the slums. Okay, all right, so regardless, right, that was just like the type of games that I played, okay? And then I moved from there to Xbox. And then once we got to Xbox, that's when I started to get into like elite gaming, right? We're talking about COD, we're talking about Peggle, Geometry Wars, nigga, we talking about Rainbow, we're talking about basically any type of like fire game I was playing on Xbox. Now my main game, my real main game, was Halo 2. That was peak fucking gaming. That was my first introduction to a real campaign that had substance to it and actually had like a plot line to it, and it genuinely felt like one of the greatest user experiences of all time. Halo 2 is one of the greatest campaigns, if not, and it's not the greatest because it's like the most great graphics. It has a great storyline, and it was the first introduction to like using campaigns as like a selling point for your marketing in terms of first person shooters, right? Or at least one of the first ones to do it well. Then once I got older, I started to get into COD, and my favorite COD campaign is Ghost. It's one of the best ones. I feel like it's the best campaign. It's the most fun. It feels the most real. Like just the whole storyline of like the guy, and then like the spoilings, like at the end, it's like the guy that you were with the whole time and conversating with, like that was the guy. But just in terms of like the way you like, you had to, I don't know how to explain. It's like you were just always on a mission in like these little divots and areas, and like you always had to be like just so incognito in terms of knowing how to play as a player. I don't know. I just love the campaign, the like just simplicity of it, but also how complex it was in terms of how you have to play as a player to actually do good. And I actually used to play on veteran after I got good at the game, though. After it took a while, but okay. So then after that, I started to, now there was like games that I would play like on the PC. My real introduction game that I started like grinding like kind of shortly after that was Minecraft. Now, a lot of people don't know, right? But I'm actually a Minecraft professional, or used to be. So I used to actually be like legit crazy at Minecraft, and I actually have Minecraft earnings. I know, kind of crazy, right? Now it's not a lot, right? But you know, made a couple dollars off of UHC wins. That's what I used to play, UHC. But mostly, I was a crazy Hunger Games player. That was the main game. Everybody knows that if you were in Minecraft back in the day, it was Hunger Games and UHC. Those are the ones we were grinding, and maybe Pop PvP. But a lot of people were using auto clickers and Pop PvP, so I don't know how skillful that is, but it is what it is. Okay. So with those games, those were like, that was my introduction to like competitive gaming, or like, oh, you can actually make money from gaming or whatever, right? I started to like kind of get good at it, kind of not. There was like a strat, it was like the rod strat, right, where you would stun them with the rod, and that was like how good you were, right? That was the real skill. Pop PvP is okay, but you could cheat in Pop PvP very easily. But with like the rod and stuff, like you actually had to have decent skill if you weren't reaching, right? Some kids were reaching, but it is what it is, okay? And then I started to play like little shitty like games, but it's only when I was in like school, right? Because in school, you were just like sitting here at a desk being attentive. Even though you have ADHD and like ADD, you have to sit here and like read, or like anytime you're at like the computer lab, which is where we would go to, anytime you're doing work, you low-key just, you open that extra tab, and then you open up Slither.io, Agario, or like some shitty like cool math games. And that was the game that we used to play. That was a game I used to play a lot, was Pop Tropica. Pop Tropica was kind of like called Penguin a little bit, but with like regular characters. And then you have other like cool math, just like simple PC games. Now that was my first introduction to like PC gaming, right? Because the first Minecraft I used to play was the Xbox, and that was the really chill vibes. And then we started to move on to PC. That's where the UHC, etc. Right? That was my first introduction to like actually enjoying games, like, but almost like to the point where like I started to hate the game because I played it so much, but that's why I loved the game. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like some games it's like you hate playing it, but you love it because you know like you're good at it, you know? So that was kind of like my whole, I don't know, introduction to like development into gaming, right? And I'm kind of get to like where we are at gaming right now. Okay, so then from that, right, Fortnite happened, right? And I was actually a hater of Fortnite. I thought Fortnite was trash. I thought it was garbage. I was like, why is everyone playing this game? Until it came onto mobile, right? And then once it came onto mobile, that's when I started grinding the game. Now, those who don't know, I consider myself an ex-pro, but at one point I actually made a lot of earnings on Fortnite. I made like a decent amount of earnings. I want to say like 7K on earnings. It was okay, not that much, but it's like, that's like pretty good for a Fortnite game. Like, that's not the worst, not the greatest. So I started playing like during season 2. That was like the main. So I started playing at a friend's house, but then that's when they got on mobile. That's when I really like started playing. I started during season 2, chapter 1, season 2, obviously, and then that's when I started to like develop the love for the game, I guess you can say. Now, I only played it because there was really not much to play, and I didn't actually like the game at first. I thought it was kind of trash, but it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And then started to get addicted, right? And then I started like getting really addicted, and to the point where like, you know, talking about 6 years later, I still play the game today, but I don't play it as much. Not really too fond of the game right now at the state it is. And this is what I'm getting at, is gaming right now, at least for me, has been okay. So I just finished playing a Marvel Rivals game, and I'm enjoying the game a lot. I literally, we had, even though we lost the last match, I still like enjoy the fact that the game is fresh. It feels like a refreshing, like breath of fresh air in the space, because a lot of the games, I feel like during like that era, and I feel like Fortnite in a sense, just with like free type of games like that, kind of destroyed the whole like market for kids wanting to get into games. Like, it kind of just destroyed the kid. Now, I'm not talking about older people, you know, older people are playing WoW, COD, Rainbow, but like your younger youth, which becomes your future gamers, they started to get onto Fortnite. And then that's when gaming started to get a little stale, because it's like the peak of the moment, the peak of the series. This was like peak almost years, right? Like, you're talking about 2019, 2018, like it was like when Avengers was happening, like Thanos and like everything. Media was good to consume, and then now it's like at a point where it's almost overbearingly annoying to consume. And a lot of the games that like, or like a lot of the things in Fortnite that were like fun then, now are just kind of stale. I don't know how to explain it. Now the problem I'm having with the game, like just specifically, is the movement. I have a hard time getting with the movement and the makeup and the lack of connection with the game, because I live in Florida. If you live in Florida, Florida does not have good connection at all. It just doesn't. It's never had good ping regardless of where you are in Florida. So even though I have like good internet, Fortnite it just doesn't run properly for me in terms of like good internet connection. It just won't work. It's like okay, like the lowest I can give like 30, but that's still like not that great. Okay. Compared to how Fortnite is, because to be a professional, you really have to be zero, like you have to have zero connection. It's the only way to make it like logistic. Like you can't move as fast, you can't digitally move as fast as another character. It's just not how it works. Like you just can't. It's impossible. It doesn't matter how good you are. If someone has lower connection to you with the game, they're just better. And that's a problem with the game, because like it's very ping based, but also the movement, like right now, it's not that the movement's bad in like a general sense, but once you get into like high, like basically laggy lobbies, right? The movement becomes so disoriented that it's almost impossible to even move the character. Like it feels like I don't even know how to play the game anymore. And then there's like the scroll reset bug where like it doesn't work anymore properly. It's so annoying. The scroll reset doesn't work anymore. And I don't know if it's my mouse, but it doesn't work. Like I'm telling you, it doesn't work. Regardless, okay? So like just games in general, right? Because the game that I just played, there's a marble match. I was just sitting there and I just realized like, dude, I'm actually enjoying the game. Like I haven't had an enjoyment for a game in a while. Like it's refreshing. They're introducing new characters, and I think that they said now that they're going to release a character every month instead of every 3 months, or like every season or something like that, more frequently, because I think that they realize that like it does take a while for that stuff to come in, and it kind of makes the game stale if it takes too long to introduce new characters. And there's a lot of characters in the MCU, so it's not like they're going to run out of characters. Okay, so they can pump them out with speed. But I was just sitting there like, wow, bro, I'm actually like the thing about the game and what makes it so interesting and dynamic is every character has its own specified deed or need in this in the fight, and it runs perfectly. There's like an equilibrium basically with each team. Each character has their own unique value that makes them in equilibrium with any other character. Like like it's just crazy because you can tell they really cared. They took their time. They meticulously took their time to make the characters actually work. Like it's a methodical, like systematic art, like gallery, like simulative universe that actually is enjoyable. Even the voice acting to the character design to how the game runs, the movement, everything is smooth. There's not like too many bugs. There's a little bit of v-syncing issues, but other than that, it's actually pretty clean. And they fixed some of like like they've nerfed certain characters and stuff. Everything in the game just feels fresh, and I love it, bro. Like it's actually the greatest. Like it's one of the greatest games right now. I know. It's one of those games where you can't play it too much, and sometimes it is even more enjoyable to watch the game. But I think that the game itself it's so refreshing in the space that I generally just had to sit here and like really ponder it and like have an epiphany about the game. The game is amazing. Marvel Rivals is one of the greatest games to ever drop. Now it's basic, but it works, and its simplistic nature makes you want to. It makes it user-friendly. It makes it so everyone can get into the game and understand how to play the game and understand your role. And once you master your role, it's just amazing. It's just a beautiful game. It's like Fortnite, Mortal Kombat, and like Overwatch all combined together. And it's just a beautiful game. One of the greatest. Right now, I'm not doing that great. Okay, so what I did, and I don't know if this is just me, but I'm getting in these, when I solo queue, I get into these lobbies where like, I either am on a winning streak and I'm doing amazing, or I'm just on a complete losing streak. Now, something that I've had, which is something that I've noticed at least, is whenever I get into my like winning streak, right? If I'm playing solo and I'm in a winning streak, I'm chilling. But it's almost like once I start to stack with like a bunch of people, that's when I start to get into like losing queues. It's weird. So I don't know what that is, but it is what it is, right? It's still fun to play though. It doesn't matter, right? I think that they like, even though like, and it's what for me is like surprising is sometimes even when I lose, I still have enjoyed the match I played. Like when it's super close, sometimes, you know, it's a detrimental when, you know, your team's just a droid. There was a game I was playing, I had 4 kills and 1 death. I pressed tab, straight donuts on my team, all donuts, and it was just 8 deaths, 6 deaths, 13 deaths, 14 deaths, 11 deaths. It was horrible. So a problem, or like at least when I'm playing, I still sometimes enjoy when I lose. It sounds weird, but like sometimes like when it's super close, it's like, oh wait, that was actually crazy. Like we could have, even though we lost, we could have went crazy. And like, I don't know, it feels like you can learn from it. There's still like a bit of IQ you have to know of what players to play. It's like there's so many things, intricate details that make it such a great experience. I love the game. It's actually one of the greatest games of all time. So right now, gaming is kind of at a stalemate. I feel like there's some decent games coming out, you know, like Assassin's Creed just came out. I think you know, Black Myth Wukong was a really good experience. Elden Ring was pretty good. The DLC was okay, and I'm trying to get into like more decent games right now. I don't know what like is really popping besides or like what's really new besides Assassin's Creed. My friends were telling me about some other ones, but shit, that's kind of like where I'm at with this. I hope the future is bright with gaming, like, because for me, I was always like, there's no way there's any game that can outdo Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? I was like, there's just no way. And I think Marvel Rivals right now, I don't know if it's on a pace to outdo Fortnite just because Fortnite was just such a huge success, but I do think it's on a pace to like be as consistent as Fortnite, if not still stay in the game as much. Now, I think what they may have to do is like make, you know, obviously make tournaments for it, but also make it so it's always new and fresh, whether that's new game modes, whether that's new characters, whatever the case may be. That's how the game is going to ever last, with more freshness, right? Creating new routines and creating new maps and creating new everything, right? And not just that, you know, the inclusion of you know, sponsors or other creators enabling the platform, but also creating like a system where, you know, new game modes happen, and it's not just a normal game mode, just like your regular, you know, team deathmatch or domination or whatever. You know, you're talking about, oh shit, there's a game mode where fucking the buildings are all flying everywhere or something, or you know, something, or customizable characters or free play or something like that, or even more people, like a team of 8 or a team of 10 people, like something that makes it fresh and refreshing. I'm enjoying the game so much. It's just one of the best games of all time, genuinely. And honestly, China they outdid us, let's be honest. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just kind of wanted to yap about that. That's really about it. Okay, so with that being said, I'll see you when you're older. Peace.